Hi, this is Runa, and you're listening to the Changemakers podcast, where we share tips, insight, tools, and stories from other changemakers designed to motivate you to become the change you want to see in your world. Make sure you join our Changemakers community at runamagnus.com/podcast. And now, this is your time to sit back, relax, and enjoy. This episode is sponsored by Kickoff 2020, out of the box event with yours truly. Yes, me. Tell you a little bit about Kickoff. Kickoff is an annual event that's just been growing and growing and growing. And we sold out last year, we sold out the year before, and now we are doing early bird registration for the event taking place in Reykjavik, Iceland, January 4th. A full day seminar at the beginning of the year where you get the space and time to explore, create, and plan your magical year ahead. It is the day that people talk about, that they leave with tools that they can use. They leave with crystal clear clarity over the things that they want to place their energy and their focus on. And they also leave with a mindset that is keeping them in the vortex, keeping them in the natural flow. And they see that they can basically create a world exactly like they like to have it. And it's about enjoying your inner and outer success for 2020. Kickoff 2020 will take place at the Hilton Hotel Nordica in Reykjavik, Iceland, January 4th. And the early bird registration is now open. For more information, you need to be able to understand Icelandic or go to Google Translate, but go to runamagnus.com/kickoff-2020. And now to my today's guest, Helena Kalsmos and Jesper Bentzen, the founders on Enagi.com. Tell you a little bit about my guest. Helena worked as a teacher, an internal communication consultant at a large corporation, a stress coach for people on sick leave, and a management coach for a strategy agency in Copenhagen before meeting her partner and now the other guest, Jesper Bentzen. He is an engineer and IT consultant. For over 20 years was creating his own independent projects on the side, like programming trading robots and designing a flying car, which received a grant that he used to verify its feasibility. In 2014, he started working with Vacuum Zero Point Energy and built a machine with the aim of harvesting electricity out of the background energy. It was this experiment that later resulted in the Apolich technology. Now, their life's work is to spread the new technology around, they call it Apolichak, into different branches. It's a quantum technology that brings certain materials to a peak point, maintaining, prolonging, or adding new properties to the material, like crystals that become self-correcting, like water that becomes permanently structured. Well, hey, I'm not going to tell you all the things that I found out from them, but you will need to listen to this episode to see how you can use the Vacuum Zero Point Energy results of their products, their Enagi energy fields, to create a space for you to grow yourself as a change makers and help others around you to really keep their energy up, enjoy their life, and feel they are on it. Welcome my guest, Helena and Jesper. Hey, Helena and Jesper. Skal vi snakke dansk, eller skal vi snakke engelsk? I think it's better that we speak English, actually. Welcome to the Changemakers
Thank you very much,
podcast.
Dina.
Thank you.
Yes, to our audience, we have our guests today are Helena and Jesper from Denmark, and I am always so excited to learn from people like yourself that are doing, well, in your case, you're really doing magnetic things, aren't you? I mean, you're dealing with crystals, and you're dealing with how you can use crystals to become the change that you want to see in your world. Before we start into anything, I want to know, Helena and Jesper, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Second, how did this whole thing come to you?
Well, then I have some speaking time now. Yeah. Well, I'm an electronics engineer, and 5 years ago, I got very inspired to look into how you could harness the vacuum energy, or the chi, or the ki, or the life force energy, or the 0 point energy, whatever you want to call it, into electricity. So that was what I started to doing. And my motivation was that, hey, we need to clean up this world. There are so much fossil fuel being burned, and it's not that good to the environment. And also, it's a new paradigm shift, right? Because you could say that right now we are burning up the planet we are living on in order to get energy. What is that? That's strange, right? What if you could tap into the energy that is present all around us and make it into electricity? And it's actually a quite spiritual thing for me, because that is what a guru does, someone who meditates a lot. When they sit in meditation, they link into the life force energy and they get more energy. It's what happens when you go to a healer, you get more energy. So where does our body get it from? It gets it from the vacuum or the 0 point. So why don't just create a device that could take the same energy and convert it into electricity? And I started doing that. And while doing that, it took me half a year to build a machine that created a strong electromagnetic field. And I did a lot of experiments on a lot of different fluids and saline solutions in order to see if I could get a process started, fueled by, just kickstart the process by using our normal electricity, but then let have the vacuum energy continue the process. And what I tried to do was to split the water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen, because that would actually give us hydrogen, and hydrogen is a good thing to burn because it doesn't leave any footprint, any carbon footprint.
Yeah.
While doing that, because I'm not just an electronics engineer, back in the 90s, back in the 90s, I worked with clairvoyance and healing and channeling and stuff like that. So I am what you call a strong sensitive. What do we call it?
Just a sensitive.
I'm a sensitive in a good way.
Yeah.
So while sitting doing these experiments, I could suddenly feel that, whoa, what is happening? A different energy is coming now from these saline solutions.
Yeah.
So feel life force energy suddenly coming from these saline solutions into my system, into my body. And what it did was it made my mind very much more calm, so much calm so I could hear subconscious thoughts that used to just roam around in my subconsciousness came to the surface. And it could be like old childhood decisions or conclusions that were no longer beneficial for me, and they just came to the surface and they just disappeared. I felt I had a lot more energy in my body. It was like, oh, what is happening? A lot more life force energy began to flow in my body. And small emotionally blockages, they popped, old emotions coming out. And that was really cool. So I thought, what is this? So somehow I didn't manage to make it into electricity, but I did manage to make it into life force energy.
And then force energy is just whoa.
And the next thing was, okay, how do we get this out to people and how do we validate this? And this was 5 years ago. So we started validating on ourselves and our family and friends. Everybody could feel something. And because we have blockages different places in our system, then the effects would be different. Some people it would be emotional releases. Some people it would be mental insights or letting go of old memory patterns. And some people it would be some trauma in the body, just locked in, were released. And now you started this podcast by saying, oh, it's crystals we're into. And basically we're not into crystals, right?
No, it's the energy.
It's the energy.
I love that. Thank you for clearing that. Thank you for clearing that. And
I want to say one more thing, and then I want to give some talking time to Helena. Yeah. So it's like, we just found out, a crystal, did you know that iron in buildings are crystals?
Yeah.
Because crystals just means that the molecules are organized in a nice, structured way. They are nicely aligned next to each other. That's what crystal means. And when something is like that, then it becomes coherent, and then it can do something else on a quantum level, and that can flow up from a quantum level to a macro level, right? Mm-hmm. So a crystal just means that the molecules are nicely structured in a nicely way, in a nicely form. And I need a structure like that in order to be able to link into the vacuum energy or the 0-point energy or the life force energy. So crystals is just a very good matter to be able to link into the life force energy, so it can emit that all the time. And then it's not all crystals. We can only do it on fluoride crystals, actually. So our products are made out of fluoride crystals.
Yes.
And they are linked into the vacuum energy. So all of the effects a normal fluoride has, it still has, but it has this extra effect that it is linked into the 0-point energy, or vacuum energy, or life force energy, and it can continuously emit that to its surroundings. Right?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
That was a long talk.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just answer your first question, Rune, how I came into this.
Yeah.
Because I was working as an executive coach when I met Jesper. And before that, and I also had my own clients. And before that, I was a freelance coach working with people who were stressed out or depressed or on sick leave. That was something the Danish government was giving, like a few sessions with a life coach.
Yeah.
So that was what I was working with. And I remember how I felt, when you work with stress, energy is very central and essential. And I could feel that these clients of mine were really, really in need of energy, and they were in need of my energy. So I had this maybe hidden wish that I could, give them energy, and I could give them something to bring home, and not, having to come back for my energy all the time. Yeah. And at the same time, maybe I was looking for a way to work where I could feel whole, that I didn't have to have my rational engagement in my work and then my spiritual life in my private life. I wanted it to become one, right? And then the third thing was that I think that I was in need of something that could help me evolve. Like, when you come to those peak points in life, when you have to do a transformation, or you have to really change something, and it's scary, and you want to go back to the old ways. I think that this energy came into my life because it gave me that push. It gave me that push forward. I wanted a boyfriend. I wanted a work that I could be whole. And, next thing I knew, I met Jesper, and I was working with not only crystals, but purple crystals. So a lot of things changed. And I think now that I have this access to this new energy, and I think that's key when you want to transform, that you have access to new energy.
Yeah.
So, it's our natural state, right? To evolve and to heal, but we can lack the energy. So I tried other crystals, I think they're all crystals are beautiful and intelligent, and I wanted to try them, but I don't know if I didn't know enough about, is it a quartz crystal? Is it a rose quartz? Is it amethyst? What is it that I need now? And I couldn't make them work. And I knew that I had to cleanse them all the time, but, people said once a month, and I still couldn't feel them. But when this came into my life, when Inagi came into my life, although it wasn't called Inagi, it was just invented, and I contributed in that whole process of giving it a name. But when that came into my life, I could feel it. I could feel not only in my body, in my mind, that I was feeling lighter. I could also see that things really changed, that it was easier for me to do the change, to actually change things. I wasn't held back anymore. So that was my way into this.
Yeah.
This is really interesting, because as I'm listening to you, I'm observing my own where I have, obviously this is just my own thing, thought about as crystals or as energy, or as using this magnetic way to feel better. You know, you mentioned all the symptoms. You know, we in the Western world, I mean, burnout, my God, this is the thing that you hear everywhere, that people are just, they can't cope anymore. You talk about sustainability and the environment and what is going on in everywhere. You know, there are certain people that don't believe that anything is changing, but let's not go there. But, you know, when I'm listening to you, I see a whole another picture than what I had originally placed anything that has to do with crystals or with energies that can come from that. And one thing, and I want to ask you about this, there's one thing that keeps coming on my way that somehow, when I was going through and looking at your website, one thing constantly came up my way, and that was, this is a really powerful tool to protect yourself as well. You know, when you're a light worker, or you're a change maker, or you're a coach, like you mentioned yourself, Helena, you are giving away. You're like channeling. You're like the one that is just there, present, holding space for people so that they can grow and they can have space to talk or whatever that is that they need. And like you mentioned you were giving, you felt they needed more energy, and you were giving you were giving from you. So it's like, how do you hold yourself? How do you give yourself energy so that you can give? And as well, how do you protect yourself so that people are not taking from you energies that you don't want to give away? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or maybe in a lack here. I don't know. Yeah.
Really, it's really what the crystals does. It creates a field around them where anything living, anything within that field will get extra energy. So that means that if you're a healer, it will do two things. It'll give you more energy, and it'll make the healer calm quicker, and the healer will be upgraded slowly, so the healer is able to heal better. So you'll become a better healer, you could say like that.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting things is that it'll also, over time, upgrade the healer to link the healer into the life force energy more. Uh-huh. So you will be connected more permanently with the life force energy, so you'll become a better healer, a better channeler. So it's not just a crystals that is doing the fishing for you. It's slowly upgrading your system so you can yourself become a better fisher. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. And then that goes to, you know, I'm such a baby in this thing. You talk about people, Helena, you talked about earlier that people were talking about that they needed to clean their crystals.
Yes.
For example, I had not even thought about that you needed to do. That's something that you need to do with the Nagi?
Regular crystals, they absorb energy from their surroundings. Much like human beings, we absorb energy from our surroundings. We feel tired and drained, right? And then we need to reload with something, maybe take energy from other people. Mm-hmm. So that's what regular crystals, they all need to be cleansed once in a while. And if they're working good, that means they're absorbing a lot of energy. So you need to cleanse them a lot. And this does not happen with the Yanagi energy that we call it, the Yanagi crystals, because it vibrates on such a high frequency. So it really,
negates.
Yeah, it's just all lower vibes that comes to you. It will just transform. Transform. So you can keep up your vibe.
That's why you have good vibes wherever you go.
Yeah, we have this. you know, there's crystals.
Not just because you're Danish, like I said before we hit the recording button. I said also the audience. I told them I love Danish people, so all Danes for me are people with sense of humor. You know, now you know it, Denmark.
this tagline, "Good vibes wherever you go," it can feel a little, modern, but
you made that up.
yeah,
It's really good.
Yeah. But I forgot what I wanted to say. But it's, you can have, there's crystals, a lot of places in the world, and there's a lot of healers out there doing great work, and coaches, and you can go to other people. And we're not saying that you should stop that at all. But this just another way of getting that energy that you can bring along as you go out into the world, when you're at work, when you're at home, when you're, in all kinds of difficult situations. And, and also you don't have to think that much about it. Just have a guy like this in your home, and you get, that high frequency energy in there.
Oh.
To uplift I kind of get a little romantic about it, that I say that it uplifts the soul. That sometimes you say that you're drained, and it's not that you need rest, it's just that you're not being wholeheartedly engaged with things. So that's what it ignites and strengthens.
But also if you are a healer or a therapist, or you just and you just want to evolve, or you want to clear out childhood traumas and stuff like that, then what it all comes down to is energy. Because if you don't have enough energy, whomever you are, then you will, first of all, you will not even contemplate beginning to evolve, right? Or develop yourself, because you will be focused on, I need to earn this money, or I need to have better food, or I need to have housing, or I need to have more sleep. So it's like
figure out what to do with my life.
Yeah. If you're in survival mode, then you're not developing, right?
No. You're in fight or flight when you're there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in order to be able to even contemplate, I want to evolve, I want to
do something
new, I want to be more creative or stuff like that, then you need to have all the basics in place. And it takes energy.
It takes energy.
So this is the energy support, whatever you need. And it goes with the body as well. It's like, if you have too many emotional traumas hidden away in your body, like childhood traumas or mental traumas, or they have even manifested as small physical symptoms also, then that's what your focus is. Oh, I want to feel better in my body. Oh, I'm still traumatized by my childhood. Oh, I still have these thoughts that are reoccurring all the time, and I don't want to listen to them anymore. If you're in that state of being, then you're not giving away to other people, and it's also difficult for you to receive from other people. And you're definitely not living your life dream, right? You're not going out there in the world, contributing, doing some lovely things that makes you happy and other people happy, right? So
and I can just imagine all of the you can call it small as well, those little limiting beliefs that we've told ourselves that we are not, that are then stopping us from really allowing our energy to flow. And this is then opening up for that, because I don't even think that you need a big traumatic to really benefit from this, because there are so many things that
get caught in the boxes today, right?
Yeah,
like you don't even know that you're closing down your heart because it's normal.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I'm really referring to. It's like, I am, when you go into any of the boxes, in my family we don't do that, like that's one of the boxes that definitely many of us are stuck in, when it's really about energy and looking at, getting new energy into your field so that you can see the world from that new
open up.
So you need energy to break out of the boxes, right?
You need energy to break out the boxes. I love that.
But it's for us, the Inagi it can be sufficient for some people, but besides having the extra energy, then you also need a practitioner that can guide people, right? That is why it goes so well with other practitioners.
It's really a synergy effect you get.
Because a lot of people, they still need guidance. They still need someone to tell them what they're experiencing, what they can expect, what the process will be like.
I need that. I need.
So that is there. So you both need the energy, and you need the therapist, or the healers, or the coach,
or just the reflection, right?
Yeah.
On what's going on in your energy field.
I love that.
those people, the therapists, the practitioners, they need the extra energy, and that's what we're supplying. Giving them the extra energy. We
yes, but it's not.
Practice.
You talk a lot about healers and therapists and practitioners, but as just an individual in this world, having the opportunity to have that access to extra energy wherever, when you're in your daily life, and you don't have to see yourself as someone who's all the time having to get help or go to a healer or practitioner,
you're right.
But it's working on you. Yeah. But it may work slow or faster if you work with a coach or you reflect at the same time.
Or if you have the big ones.
Yeah, the big ones. But they might give you a little detox symptoms. So we design something that everybody can have on their body all the time and feel good and feel balanced and grounded. Yes.
I love that. I am going to go onto your website, which is, by the way, so that you can, it's going to be on our show notes. It's ennagi.com. And for me, who is traveling the world, doing my workshops around the boxes and speaking and all of those things, I definitely need a companion with me that can keep my energy up. And I know our audience, there are people there that definitely need that. We're coming to an end. I want to ask you one final question. And that is a big one, I guess, for many. I don't think it's a big one for you, however, but nevertheless, would you be so kind to share with us the change that you want to see happening in this world?
Well,
yes. I will make it short and you can make it short. Yeah. I would like people to be able to come into their hearts, and because in their hearts they will find the actions that are most beneficial for themselves and everybody else. So I'm talking about creativity, I'm talking about love, I'm talking about creating something in this world that they enjoy as an individual and everybody around them enjoys.
So yes, and I think for me, I would very much like to contribute in ending suffering, because, what I feel myself and what other people are telling me, it's like when you have more energy in your life, it's like you can take on this challenge that it is, this human condition, this life on earth, right? It is a challenge for us. And so, taking on that challenge without suffering and without, feeling that things should be different and why me and stuff like that, the whole victimization of ourselves. Yeah. I would like people to just being able to take that jump into life and, like you say, be creative and enjoy themselves a little more, live more than just surviving, right?
Be masters of their own life.
I love that.
And we had a challenge for you also.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You suggested a challenge before this podcast.
Oh, it was actually Suzanne who made our connection, who said that maybe we should have a follow-up on this podcast after you've had a chance to try your own. And see if how you feel, because what is so different, we're just conveying an idea to people. And when you have an experience, you convey that experience on different frequencies. So it will be fun to see how you talk about this if you've tried it yourself.
Oh.
And then you could ask some questions about what you experienced.
Okay. Wow. Hey, this is a challenge. This. I love that challenge. Yeah. That was unexpected, but yeah. I accept the challenge for sure. And just, I guess what I need to do is to get my hands on that starter package that you have and start to explore, right?
Yes.
And you ship to all over the world, so there shouldn't be any.
I'm from the US. Yeah. I think from Denmark is best for you. Yes.
Yeah, you're in.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in Iceland at the moment. Yes, exactly. From that end, thank you for the challenge, and thank you for being our super, super interesting guest.
Thank you for having us.
Was this podcast of value for you? I sure hope so. If so, feel free to share the love and give us your generous review on iTunes or Stitcher. And remember that you can always go to runemagnus.com to find out more about the Changemakers and how we can help you drive the change you want to see in your world. you.